everyone, welcome back. Dr. Vernita Glenn White here, known as Dr. V, life strategist and personal empowerment coach. And I'm gonna leave this in here so you can see. And I'm also the CEO and founder of the Five Institute, where we help high achieving individuals and professionals vibe higher in their influence, brilliance, and excellence to be their most empowered selves. So, as a result of working with us, those individuals break their personal glass ceilings so they can show up more powerful in their life and their career. And I have been talking to you about my book, Embracing Grit for Greatness, How to Become Professionally Powerful Through Personal Empowerment. And we've been doing our grit check-ins for big me and little me. Well, big you and little you. Because in the book, I talk about big me and little me and my personal development journey and how that helped me to become my most powerful and empowered self. So it's not just a slogan or a tagline, it really is the process of my life and really how I am continuing to live life and go to those next levels. I wanted to do this book series with you all for some people who may have already purchased the book and they wanted, maybe like some extra commentary behind the scenes of what is she really saying behind the words. And then for some who may not ever purchase the book and you've come across this series, and I just want to make sure that I give you as much value as I can, and I walk you through the actual grit check-ins that I have in my book. So we're going to continue. If you're new, welcome. Just a quick overview. We talk how I defined grit was I broke it down into 5 characteristics: courage, conscientiousness, endurance, resilience, and excellence over perfection, or excellence versus perfection. And then I talk about big you and little you. Big you and little you. Because I talked about, like I said before, big me and little me. And then I'm going through this so that it's almost like poking the bear a little bit. I don't want you to just watch this video to be entertained. I didn't want you to read this book just to be entertained. Yes, I share a lot about my life and my story, but then in addition to that, I also share with you steps that you can take, like actual steps, action steps to help you move to your next level. And that's what we're doing here. So I do read the grit check-ins. They're short. I think the longest one has been the endurance one, because obviously I had a lot to say about that one. And then I read them to you not to insult you, but to keep me on track for one. And then 2, I'm actually reading these live. I haven't read through my book since it was released on December 22nd in 2020. So I'm reading it to you live. Like, some of the reactions that you see are like, oh, they're all real, because I haven't read it. What I was going to say. I forgot what I was going to say. But anyway, I go through them with you. And yeah, to get the most out of this, I want you to do like the actual check-in check-in moments. All right, so we're going to get through. We're doing resilience, big you. I start with a quote. All of the sections have a quote, and then at the end of them, I invite you to do something, take action. And then if you want to purchase the book, I talk about that towards the end. So let's get started. This is resilience, big you. The quote: change will not come if we wait for some person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. Former President Barack Obama. As a high achiever, you are resilient. If you're new to me, let me just pause. And I said I was going to keep doing this definition, but I am. High achievers, although majority of the time when I speak about, or you hear me say something, it's about doing well academically or having a certain level of, degree or education, but that's just because that's my actual background. However, I've talked to several hundreds of people. I've researched, hundreds and probably thousands of people over the span of my academic career. And high achievers or top professionals or and people like that aren't always academic based. Some people could care less about school, didn't get the amazing grades, but they are doing the doggone thing in their professional lives or their business lives. We know about Bill Gates dropping out. We know about Steve Jobs and all of that. But what we forget is that they had that informal training where they went to seminars, worked on products, honed their skills. So they were educated in different ways. They did put in work. They had to learn. They were high achievers, just not in the formal education setting. So if you don't have these formal degrees, but you know you've been a high achiever, you top producer, a high producing person, then that's you as well. So we're not only talking about people with degrees here, because then there are so many people with degrees that aren't doing the doggone thing. We're talking about high achievers who are producing in the world. Okay. This hopefully that's my last time to have to explain it, because I don't need people coming after me and saying, well, I did this and I don't have a degree. We're not talking about that. If you know that you're a high achiever and you produce in the world and you are out here doing the thing, then we're talking about you. Join the club. All right. So as a high achiever, you are resilient. Whether you bounce back from professional setbacks because you were trying to prove something or overcome a pain point. And I mentioned that a lot of times we have certain levels of success because it comes from a place of pain, or we feel that we have to prove something to someone else. But you kept it moving. You don't mind the detours or the different paths you take to reach your goal. Although you may get frustrated at the length of time, you embrace an overall feeling of inner peace, knowing that everything will work out for your good. And here I'm talking about you, like our professional side. That's big U, in case I wasn't clear. Big U is who we show up as in business, in corporate, in our careers. That's big U. This doesn't mean you don't get nervous or have any doubts, because sometimes I think we act like we're not supposed to, but that's part of being human. You've learned how to manage those feelings and persevere. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten to the level that you've got. Most successful people approach professional setbacks with a come hell or high water attitude and will achieve no matter what. The key to this type of resiliency as it relates to grit is how you present yourself during the bounce back process. Most resilient high achievers aren't moping around feeling sorry for their professional setbacks, because they are motivated to figure out a solution. Now, I want you to think about a time when you were the most resilient in your professional life. The reason why I have us to do this, and I also had to do this myself, is again, we overlook the success we have professionally or in business. We know it was hard to get there. We know that we put in the work. We know that we put in the time, but sometimes we haven't given ourselves credit for everything that comes along with it, because people automatically assume that it was easy, that it came natural to us. Sometimes it does come natural to us, but that doesn't negate the fact that we had to go through some things to reach those goals. So I want you to take some time and notice a pattern here. I'm having you to check in with big U and check in with little U. Right now, we're talking about resilience and setback in our professional lives. Were you overlooked for a promotion? Did you not get a deal? Did you not sell the number of products that you expected to sell? Whatever the case may be, professionally, it was a setback, right? But guess what? You didn't die. You found a solution, you found a way to overcome it, and you kept it moving. What kept you moving? If we can identify it, we can repeat it. A lot of times we're stuck professionally, or we reached a plateau because we're like, all right, this happened over here and I was fine, but why can't I do it over here? Well, sometimes your body is just like, or your subconscious mind is like, really? You don't know what we did yet? Well, if you took the time to acknowledge, then maybe I'll show back up and help you on the other side. I have to chuckle because I'm like, where did that come from? But seriously, take some time and to realize the bounce back muscle. That's how I learned to think about resiliency from my personal development coach. Like, think about your bounce back muscle. What did it all take for you to pick yourself back up? Now, I will admit, like for me, one of the things that happened was I was overlooked. Like my institution at the time didn't allow me to pursue a National Science Foundation grant worth $3.5 million for STEM education for teachers, leaders, and students who would not have had access to those types of programs. Devastating. One, it was a blow to my career. And two, it was like, whoa, I've reached out to all these schools. I was excited to have these teachers and students and leaders embrace STEM, in a whole new way. And now no one will be able to get those services because the institution gave me a no. I had to bounce back from that. What did I do? I had to pick myself up. I had to realize that it wasn't about me. Like you said no to children and teachers and principals, even though you thought you were telling me no. I had to look at it as this wasn't a shot to my worth, or anything like that. That was something that they had to deal with. So I had to pick myself back up and keep it moving. Realized that it was amazing for me to get in contact with the people that I was able to get in contact with. It was great to hear that the National Science Foundation said that they didn't have a problem with me applying for the grant as a junior faculty member without tenure. So I had to look at all of those things like, you know what? I'm still awesome. I'm still great. Yes, it did not happen the way I wanted to, but I'm okay. And it turned out it worked out for its good, because then we ended up in a global pandemic and schools had to be shut down. But they didn't know that. That wasn't happening. But I can see that now. But even before that happened, I had to still pick myself back up and say all the things that I said. So that's what I want you to do. Think of a time where you had a setback professionally, but then how did you overcome that? How did you get back up? How did you keep going to work the next day? And now it may have taken a couple days, it may have taken a couple weeks, but you got back up, right? So what did you do? What steps did you take? And that's what I said. What are the setbacks you had to bounce back from, and how did they occur? What were the steps you took to get yourself together to apply for that new position or the next level in your career? How did you feel? A lot of times we don't move forward or reach our next level because we haven't taken the time to really feel where we are, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent, but embrace our feelings. In this case, for Big U, embrace the fact that what did it feel like to get back up, to bounce back up, right? We know that we overcame something and then we keep it moving, but did we sit in the fact and celebrate, you know what? I got back up. I took some more steps, or whatever the case may be. Did you consider yourself a resilient person prior to these questions? And if not, why? I do hear people say it's like, oh man, I just can't pull myself together. I can't get over X, Y, and Z. And it's like, yes, you can. Like, you are resilient. You're more resilient than you thought you were, right? And as high achievers, sometimes we don't think about ourselves as being resilient because we're like, oh, that's just something I had to do. They told me no. I wasn't going to take no, and I found another way. That's part of being resilient. So go ahead and sit with that for a minute. If you're bold enough, comment down below. Let me know a moment where you had to bounce back professionally, and how did that feel for you? And I really do like that question of, did you consider yourself a resilient person prior to those prompts, me asking you those questions or prompting you to think about that? And then if not, why? All right, so that's it for Resilience Big U. And if you are interested in purchasing the book, you can go to embracinggritforgreatnessbook.com, embracinggritforgreatnessbook.com. It is also available on Amazon, but on that site, you get to see more information about the book, some information about me. You can see what people are saying about the book. And then if you save your purchase code, you can come back to that site enter in some information, and then get the bonuses that are attached to you purchasing the course. Again, just more value I want to share with you, and then that's also another way to connect with me. All right, and if you already have the book, take a picture with it, tag me, let me see you out there, and how you're showing up both professionally and personally, and how you are embracing grit for your greatness. All right, I am Dr. V. Thank you so much for listening and learning with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.